Jerusalem is old, Jerusalem is new. Jerusalem will hold Muslim, Christian, Jew. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, all roads lead to you. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, your light is shining through. You will show the way to all who see it shine, that we can live in peace in Jerusalem this time. 10 measures of beauty are lighted upon the earth, wrote a medieval sage. 9 were possessed by Jerusalem, and the 10th was shared by the rest of the world. A center of not 1 nor 2, but 3 great religions, Jerusalem remains, after 3,000 years, to Western civilization as much dream as stone. And there are many to whom Jerusalem has become a dream fulfilled. For them, she has spelled progress and profit, all the abundance of a free world metropolis. Yet, in this land of bitter contrast, others are not so blessed. Poverty and privation has been their only share of the future. And worst of all, perhaps, the fear. The fear that so few understand or continue to care. It is not hard to see why outstretched hands have become clenched fists. Men always have been ready to fight for what they love. So rarely in its history has greatly loved Jerusalem enjoyed tranquility. And for 900 years, the sick and the infirm and the injured have come to seek healing help beneath the white cross with 8 points. There was a hospital once near the Jaffa Gate on the pilgrim's road to Bethlehem. Then, later, hidden among the narrow streets of the walled city, they could still find friends. Today, in the district called Sheikh Jarrah, on her eastern heights, that cross still welcomes all, regardless of race and creed or power to pay, to the hospital of St. John of Jerusalem.
Trachoma is an affliction old as the desert. Cataracts here find a fertile soil, and the blindness is the timeless scourge of the East. And where there is no vision, your book says people perish.
Where there is no vision, there is no hope. That is why the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem today specializes in the treatment of eyes.
This hospital, the St. John Ophthalmic Hospital in Jerusalem, is the only effective unit providing ophthalmic care to the population of the occupied territories, including Jerusalem and Gaza. This is a population of nearly 2 million people. We see over 60,000 outpatients a year and carry out nearly 7,000 major eye operations each year. In these unfortunate times, the hospital is open to everyone. No one is turned away because he cannot afford it, because of his race, and in particular because of his religion or politics. In the present situation, for many, it is here or nowhere.
Here or nowhere. Truly, man's inhumanity to man casts shadows in the bright sun. So the morning clinic is, as usual, full. Old and young, often journeying many hard hours, take their place and wait. For the skilled and dedicated medical and nursing staff, many of whom have themselves traveled half a world to Jerusalem, the scale of the need can be overwhelming. But then, so is the scale of the opportunity, both to serve and to learn. For this is one of the world's great hospitals. And a young doctor here may have a chance to treat, in a single year, a wider spectrum of disease and injury to eyes than he or she might in a lifetime working in a cooler, calmer environment.
The spectrum of eye disease is the same the world over, but the severity is much worse here. People are just so disabled. People come blind every day to every clinic, and all with hope, and most of them leave with those hopes answered. Doctors that come to St John, they come from everywhere, and that's tremendous for the patients because they bring so much knowledge to just one place.
Few medical disciplines have profited more from the technological upthrust of the past 2 decades than this. Astonishing advances. But advances which are also astonishingly expensive. Diagnostic equipment to confer certainty where previously a doctor could only surmise. And instruments for treatment so precise, exact, and delicate they can make present fact of past miracles.
Modern ophthalmology uses many high-tech pieces of equipment which are very expensive. At St John, we're very lucky to be able to have the sort of equipment which you would find in any modern hospital in the UK. St John's provides a first world service to a third world community. Many patients in this country are blind, and the treatment that we give them restores sight.
Medicines and materials, obtaining and supplying them is a never-ending obligation. Advances here, too, both in efficiency and expenditure. But what cannot be afforded is never denied. Time, it's said, is the great healer. Here, both visitors and recuperating patients, patients for whom grass and the cool shade of a fruit tree is itself a rarity, can find rest and recreation. Some are not yet ready to move outside. Seldom is one of the 80 beds empty for longer than a few hours. And with even radio, a luxury yet to be afforded, there is little to do but lie and wait, perhaps for a family visit, if they are permitted to come into the city. While children, as always, play. Some are too poor, or too small, or too old and frail to make their way to Sheikh Jarrah. So the hospital goes to them. Out into the hostile lands that are marked on maps as occupied territory. Lands which all claim, and therefore none enjoys. And where exist the most deprived and hapless of this helpless people. Operation Outreach arrives, bringing treatment and care to the ill-treated and uncared for. Here too the lines are long, the needs are endless.
The outreach program started about 6 years ago and is a program run by the Hospital of St. John. The main objective being to go out and find cases of preventable blindness, and through this program we can try and extend our services into areas where there is very little ophthalmic help available to the population. It's sometimes frustrating that you try and reach areas that are obviously in great need of ophthalmic services, and you find that you can't reach the area that you know is so desperately in need of your help.
With so much to be done, and so few doing it, it is a war on ignorance, on poverty and deprivation that will never be won, but can never be conceded. Although the physical rewards will always be small, recruits of the right caliber are never scarce. And training such dedicated people has high priority for the hospital. 2 years here, then their apprenticeship in this rare vocation having been completed, while some remain, others go out to take what they have learned to wherever they are most urgently required.
I don't wish them to think of nursing just when they are in uniform, looking after the patient by the bedside. Nursing, really, I like them to think about it as caring for people. One thing I can say, big difference between the students here and between the students anywhere else. I feel that we've got commitment from the students here. And I have to say from experience myself, I was a student nurse here in 1964, and I was helped by the hospital to go to England to do my training. And I did my training and came back. So I really know how much it means for a student nurse to get training here and to go further.
Much of the hospital's work, though beneficial, is of necessity routine and repetitive. Sometimes, however, that work is urgent and extraordinary. Eyes donated for corneal grafts have only a short viability. Gifted regularly by the people of Britain and America, they are flown in and must be collected, then utilized immediately. But often, potential recipients living in refugee camps have neither postal address nor telephone. They must be brought in while a theatre is prepared. Although the odds in favor of such an operation's ultimate success are 10 to 1, someone will usually find time for a small prayer. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three. But the greatest of these is charity. And so it all goes on as it has done and will continue to do every day and week and year. All links between East and West are vital, but perhaps none more than here, now. The Ophthalmic Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem.